And good evening. I'm Tracy Sinclair. With me, of course, Beth Verge. And we are coming on tonight with our Trail Tracker Plus segment. We've been talking a lot about doing some extended interviews. We have a couple really cute clips this time. The Northern Lights was out. Our crew got to see that. So I'm going to show some of that as well. But we are starting with some rather breaking news that just came into us just a few moments ago. This is the current position on the trail. But what's the latest news, Beth?
All right, so we do have another scratch in Iditarod 53. Daniel Klein, he's wearing bib number 19. He did scratch today at around 2:10 at the Galena checkpoint. Now, a release from the Iditarod Trail Committee says this is pursuant to Rule 42, which in short means because of a dog death. Now, another release that came in that same statement from the ITC says that around noon, a 4-year-old female dog, Ventana, I believe, which was part of the race team of Klein, collapsed on the trail at about 8 miles outside of Galena. And the attempts to revive that dog were unsuccessful, so the dog is going to be flown to Anchorage, where a necropsy is going to be conducted, and we'll hopefully learn a little bit more about that. But Rule 42 basically means that you must withdraw if a dog passes. We talk a lot about risks on the trail, and essentially the race marshal, if the death was caused by inherent risk of wilderness travel, so a moose encounter, for example, the musher must withdraw. And it's just one of those things that we do see from time to time, but you know, the care that these mushers typically take and are known for taking is often very obvious. And I know Dan Klein was really excited about the race, and so it's tough to have to share that, but we do appreciate the ITC, flagging us and everyone else as soon as they can. I know that Dan Klein, as I mentioned, was very excited about the race. He's running Ryan Reddington's dogs, or some of Ryan Reddington's dogs that he had leased, from my understanding, had started kind of from scratch a few years ago and looked to Ryan for guidance. And so, as it is with anything really with this race, it affects a lot more people than just one dog or one team or what have you, so we'll see what happens with it, but Daniel Klein is out of the race as of today, and we did have a few developments with rookie. Daniel Klein is a rookie, by the way, in case I wasn't clear about that. Rookie Brenda Mackey also scratched relatively recently, and there are details that you can see on our website about that, because she came forward basically on social media talking a little bit more about her personal experience with that and trying to trigger the SOS system, if you will, to get help. And she did make it into the checkpoint with what the ITC had said were 14 dogs in harness, and then she said it was 13, and so there was a little bit of back and forth with that. But she shared a lot more details about that as well, and the ITC again came forth with some information on that and clarified some of its statements basically today. So you can check alaskasnewssource.com for details, because that's another kind of complicated story, and Brenda tells it herself on her own social media accounts. So hearing it from her is kind of key.
Yeah, no, I think that's it, because as you say, there's some nuance to it. One statement, she wanted to kind of clarify what she felt needed to be told, and then there was a response from the Iditarod Trail Committee. So a great way for you to check that out would be to go to our website. Now, we have a number of very well-known mushers on this trail, one of which is Mitch Seavey. We saw his son, Dallas Seavey, met up with him today briefly, but we also caught up with Mitch when he was in New Lotto, and he was planning to take his 24-hour rest. Our reporter caught up with him for just a few minutes as he was putting coats on his dogs.
Mitch, can you tell me a little bit about the run from Galena? How to go for the team?
Went really well. They picked up speed again when the temperature cooled off just a little. And they're pretty perky, actually. The trail was good, finally. So, yeah, it was good.
Yeah. Of the dogs you have on your team, are there any kind of standing out to you so far this at this far into the race?
Oh, I've got 4 really outstanding leaders that I've been swapping up there, and they're the kind that don't even really seem to get tired. So, yeah, Derby, Prophet, Arrow, Pluto. There's some real studs.
And if, based on from the names, it sounds like there's a couple dogs you may have seen last year with Dallas's team. Is that correct?
Dallas borrowed all them from me last year after that tragic snow machine incident. And so he kind of got the pick of my best ones to fill in. I mean, but that's the kind of dogs he lost too, so it was a tragedy for his kennel.
We do want to clarify that was from Iditarod Insider. So thank you guys very much for sending that to us. That was an Iditarod Insider clip. And so thank you. But one of the things, it looks, we got an interesting interview as well from a gentleman named Quinn Mountain. Now this is really brief.
A little shorter than some of the ones we've been seeing.
We've been playing some extended interviews, but he was quite busy. And so we did just speak with him for a few minutes, and I'm going to kind of narrate because I was confused when I heard this first little segment of the interview.
Oh,
Yeah,
how many dogs?
Hold on.
Oh, sorry.
We're going to park you right here when we get done.
Okay.
So we'll just swing right there, and we'll have the vets here and separate all the happy dogs.
They're all happy. It's literally heat issues.
Yeah.
How many dogs here? 13.
Okay, so Quinn says that they were heat issues. Now, when I heard this, we've been talking a lot about the warmth on the trail. I believed that that's what he meant.
Yeah, no.
That is not
this
what
time
he
around.
meant. That is not at all what he meant. He meant that he's got a couple of his
They're looking
females.
good in a way. They have the power and they want to go, but there are 3 females in various stages of heat. 2 who are like really interested right now in making puppies, and so you can't win.
I know you're busy. I'll let you get back to it. Anything else you want to kind of say before we let you go?
No, just another fine and interesting day in Iditarod, for sure.
Certainly.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
And I have sent Beth on her way because she has to get ready for the evening shows. But in her place, I'm going to be inviting over our chief meteorologist and talking a little bit with her, because we have been talking a lot about the warmth on the trail, the conditions of the trail. And many of the mushers were quite surprised by some of the conditions when they basically ran into a sandstorm on the trail. So Melissa, step in here and let's talk a little bit about what's in the future. We're going into the weekend.
Yes.
What can these mushers expect? Does it get more Iditarod-like as we get
Yes.
closer to the coast?
I mean, we all know, regardless of where you are in the state, this year has been abnormal in pretty much every sense of the word. And we knew that was the case for Iditarod. I mean, it started in Fairbanks because we saw no snow here in Anchorage. So it's been an interesting run. I actually want to start back in Fairbanks and just show you sort of where we started with this. Again, back on Monday. Can you believe it's already been a week? So again, those mushers, they're making their way down the Yukon. So the arrows show you the front runner and the person bringing up the rear there near Ruby, and so pretty confined there in that stretch on the Yukon. So the weather in that area is all pretty similar. But remember where we started. High temperature reached 40 degrees on Mondays. So these teams have really been dealing with some pretty extreme heat. I mean, it was beautiful. Look how pretty it was in Anana there on the Tanana. Just looks, you know, poetic almost, as temperatures again still stayed warm. We saw teams running slower than we would typically expect, and we saw a lot more resting, baking in the sun there in Manly Hot Springs on Tuesday. Now, As teams have pushed there to the west, they've run into more wind. They've run into some slightly cooler temperatures, but yes, it is going to change dramatically in the next couple of days. So CalTag tonight will be in the single digits, and we have some light snow pushing into this area. Now, by Iditarod standards and Western Alaska standards, this is nothing, pretty mild, but I would suspect that those single digits are welcome relief, something that we just haven't really seen a lot of, and the light snow is probably a nice relief as well. Help to freshen things up there on the trail a little bit. Now tomorrow, it's still warm, 20 degrees into the afternoon. There will be a bit of a wind out of the northeast, 10 to 15 miles per hour, so it might actually feel a little cooler than that. And I'm not expecting much snow there through the afternoon. So relatively calm conditions in CalTag, and that'll be the case for the next 24 hours or so. But I just want to give you a little sneak peek further down the trail. Again, from CalTag, these teams are headed south, and it was the southern stretch where we were concerned for some low snow and those warmer temperatures. This area will see wind gusts about 24 miles per hour over the weekend. We will see some light snow pushing in. We have a really big storm pushing across the Bering Sea. So Anvik, Grayling, that'll be the first area of the trail to really see that storm. But that storm will also move into Norton Sound as we head into early next week. Not that any teams will be there yet. They're not even halfway, right? But that is coming. So just showing you again what's coming. Then they make that trek back up. And we know that some of the harshest weather conditions are often along the coast, right?
Yes. Oh my gosh, ground blizzards. We hear about this frequently. This is turned back many a team.
Yes.
And so yeah, totally.
Yeah, and open water can often be a concern even with sub-freezing temperatures. So again, the teams make their turn out on the sea ice from Unalakleet headed north. And right now we are still seeing snow showers through Nome. We did have blizzard conditions in Nome just less than 24 hours ago. So we're going to continue to watch conditions there. But I know it's such a relief once they come off the ice and they make that trek down Front Street to the end of the Iditarod. But so far, the heat's been the main concern. No big storms. We had the wind and that sandstorm, but again, a little bit of fresh snow, some cooler temperatures. I think still pretty easy running, relatively speaking.
Well, yeah, and we did hear from Mitch Seavey that the trail going in to Galena or from Galena was much improved compared to those first couple of days. And he did mention cooler temperatures and how his dogs kind of perked up a little bit when they hit those cooler temperatures. So we will, that's good news for the dogs.
And it probably starts to feel a little more normal, I think, at this point. I mean, they're getting back into more normal territory that they're used to, and then the weather conditions a little bit more what you would expect.
Right, because we do talk about so many of these dogs have done this race before, and this is once you get into the Eagle Island and Anvik area, these are places that these dog teams have gone before.
They're going, oh, we're going home. Yeah. We know the direction to the Broad Arch. Here we go.
Now we know this, and then we get to actually go home and rest. So thank you very much for joining us for this edition of Trail Trekker Plus, and we will be back on Monday with more insights and extended interviews and all the fun stuff coming in from our trail crew. Thanks. Have a good night.